there are some new meta Yu-Gi-Oh decks that you need to be concerned about. Battles of Legends Monsters Mayhem has all types of drama. Holy. Today we're going to be talking about so many things involving these new Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that can actually make a huge impact. Now, I haven't done this in a while, but today Chat and I will be talking about some new Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that will make a huge impact on the upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh meta. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all big dogs? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hear that you I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. And in case you guys didn't know, today is a very special day. It is, it's about that time. Update Monday! A particular time where I trick you into having you think that this is a Yu-Gi-Oh video, when in actuality, I'm going to make you a better person overall. But don't worry, if you're just here for Yu-Gi-Oh, we got timestamps. Today, big dog, I want to talk about something that I think is really, really important. I want to talk about admitting when you're wrong, and trust me, it's tough. I think that every single one of us has a piece of pride in us, something that knows or feels when we're 100% right. But if you ever want to develop and grow as a person, you have to experience loss. You have to experience when you were wrong. I know back in my days, my wife, my friends, or somebody would tell me something, and even if I knew I was wrong, I'd be like, nah, run them hands, buddy. I ain't doing it. But then as I got older, I realized that even when you don't think you're wrong, which I don't think there's a lot of times when people think they're wrong, always listen to what the opposition has to say. Internalize it. Understand where the message is coming from, because sometimes those are the people that are trying to help you. It overall makes you a very, very well-rounded person and makes you a stronger person in the long run. Pride like Vegeta, wisdom like Piccolo. God, bro. Basically what I'm telling you guys is to abandon that pride, something that Konami just doesn't seem to do very well. I mean, I guess. There are some things that we have to talk about when it comes to this Battles of Legends Monster Mayhem. A little bit of drama before we get into this set, and I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say, the community. Last week I made a video talking specifically about my thoughts on the Yu-Gi-Oh set, and a little bit of a spoiler, it's like it could be really good but really bad at the same time. But this drama is something that I really want to gloss over really quick and talk about the logistics behind it. For the people that don't know, Battles of Legends had a really big problem, and the problem was in a particular region there were players that were opening Starlight Rares like crazy, while in a different region players were pulling it at a terrible rate. I guess on the flip side, it makes your Starlight Rares more valuable. Like there's gonna be some Starlight Rares that are gonna be really, really expensive. So in the long run, it's a good thing, but for an overall print, I'm not feeling it. You got any sleeves in stock? Oh, Crash. You guys talking about the merch now. Look, not gonna lie, the sleeves, low in stock. Pick them up before it's too late. And I always got them bats, guys. So listen, I'm gonna make you guys a deal. You guys can go to TheCaliEffect.com and pick up the most prime mats you've ever seen in your life, big dog. I also have some other drops on the way. If you like this channel and you think that I do some good things, not only do you get something in return, you also support the channel. Also, for the people that want to see personal deck lists, I'll be putting them on my Patreon as a special thank you for helping me pay my editors. But that brings us to the next portion of the video, because there are some new meta decks to be concerned about. Unfortunately, the countries that do have delays, Battles of Legends Monsters Mayhem won't be a thing for them, but they can always just go check out my meta tier list from last week. That'll give them a lot of information. But to get you guys up to speed, there are actually going to be some really good Yu-Gi-Oh decks coming out of Monsters Mayhem. And if these decks wind up being competitive, if 3 of the 5 wind up being competitive, which is very likely, I think we could be in a totally different meta. Now, to make this a little bit more interesting, I'm going to start off with the decks that are least powerful and go to the most powerful, but I think all 5 of these decks has the opportunity to be incredibly strong. And if you guys want me to make a tier list based on these Yu-Gi-Oh strategies, all of them for Battles of Legends, go ahead and let me know. But let's go ahead and start off with the first strategy. I think Necroz actually has the potential. It got 1 Amelia, Dance Princess of the Necros, and Advanced Swordsman of the Necros. This helps the deck tremendously because Advance allows you to be able to summon Amelia from your deck, and this is essentially a 1-card combo. Keep in mind, Necros is a ritual-based Yu-Gi-Oh deck, and oftentimes you need a spell card, a monsters to be able to tribute, and the ritual monster. The Necros non-ritual monsters always having the ability to be used as an entire tribute is huge for the deck, and now that the deck has access to a 1-card combo, it actually makes monsters matter. And people really do forget that Necros are also hand-trap monsters. Necros has a legitimate chance. No good ritual deck does traditional ritual summoning anymore, it seems. You're right. Even Drytron did the attack reduction thing. Mitsurugi is going to be the closest you're going to get to regular ritual summoning, but it does it from the deck. Necros does have some clear weaknesses. I don't think it's an amazing going first deck. You might need to incorporate something like the Fiendsmith engine in it, but it does have some really powerful anti-extra deck like cards. The next deck, I'm gonna try to keep my excitement together, guys. Dino's best deck. Yo! Dinos, the best! So dinos are really good. I think we talked about this. Actually, I know we've talked about this a few times and I might have to make a video about it, but 1-card combos are a thing. And the Jirak monsters they're ridiculous. Mist should be unlimited and I'll die on that hill. He's 100% right. I think one of the biggest things that have stopped dinos from being any type of competitive has been Miscellaneous Saris limited to 1. But if this card ever does come off the list, not only does it make dinosaurs ridiculously cracked, allowing them to be able to protect themselves from hand traps even more, it makes Jiraks ridiculously cracked. But we're not going to talk about just that. We're going to talk about the new cards that Jiraks have received because this has never really been a competitive deck. So there's Jirak Stego. Stego is the guy, right? It allows you to be able to destroy 1 card you control and then send 1 dinosaur monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then it also allows you to be able to special summon Jirak monsters from your hand or deck equal to that monster's sent level and ignoring its summoning conditions. Now it does lock you into dinosaurs monsters, but this is a dino deck. What'd you expect? It allows you to summon the new monster Jirak Megalo and also a oldie but goldie monster in Jirak Aelo, which Aelo actually does have a good effect, dog. Aelo, a dinosaur tuner that can morph itself back into your level 4s, giving you quick synchros. The deck is really good at synchro chiming. I think if we're getting to the summation of what this deck does, is that Jirak Volcano allows you to be able to get dinosaur monsters onto the field. When your opponent summons or activates 4 more times or effects, you get to special summon Jirak Meteor, which is like a Nibiru. And the best thing about it is that this deck can't do it just once. It can't do it just twice. It can do it 3 times in any given turn. You put that with Jirak Impact, it can actually nuke the board 4 times. We know that Fire King is a very good deck because it can nuke the board once. We know that Mitsurugi is a very good deck because it can nuke the board once. But having the ability to nuke the board 4 times in 1 turn gives you access to just being able to use it whenever you want to. Oh, and then there's normal Nibiru. You could play that too. Guys, imagine getting Nibiru'd 5 times in 1 turn. Yeah. Yes, I want to play Hiroshima. That's actually insane, dog. That's a crazy take. I think that a lot of players are going to try mixing Jirak or with regular dinos, and I think players are going to actually switch to regular Jiraks. From what I've realized about Yu-Gi-Oh is that they've really been pushing archetypes, so maybe the archetype might be stronger, but we'll talk about more of that on the tier list. I think that Dragon Maid is another really good Yu-Gi-Oh strategy. It has its flaws, but it also has some really, really good things going for it. The 2 new cards that it received was Lady Dragon Maid and a new monster Dragon Maid Stern. Dragon Maid Stern helps complete the Dragon Maid accessories. Every little Dragon Maid monster has a big Dragon Maid monster to complement it, except for Chamber. Stern is that complement for Chamber, but also allows you to special summon Dragon Maid monsters to your side of the field. Lady is a contact fusion from the field and graveyard. Aspelinky says it's a fair deck, but anytime that you can have a contact fusion just by playing the deck and it gets you more cards, it's crazy. Not to mention that Lady's Dragon Maid allows you to fusion summon into any dragon monster, meaning that Dragon Maid Shu is on the table, but so is other cards like Light and Darkness Dragon Lord and Borlode Furious Dragon. I think that this deck is a really good mid-range type control style deck. Never played Dragon Maids, but I hear great things in the ways of consistency. I think one of the biggest problems with Dragon Maids is that the deck plays way too many normal summons. I don't like that personally. I think the strategy should have gotten a little bit more support. a spell card that propels the deck forward, kind of like Dragon Maid Hospitality, but maybe like a search and summon or something like that. But overall, the deck is really solid because the bestial monsters that you can play alongside of it are pretty good, and it has some really cool combos that can keep your opponent guessing. But now, guys, we're down to the final two, and I want to know, what do you guys think are going to be the most impactful? These two Yu-Gi-Oh strategies I think will have an immediate impact. Goblin Biker Punk coming back at you. Punk number one. Yo, I think this is the first time chat has actually got something right. It's kind of crazy. I do think that Punk is really good. Out of all of the decks that we mentioned, it is the strongest so far. Punk has always been a fairly competitive Yu-Gi-Oh deck. When it made its debut, it's one of the best decks in the format, and the new cards really help accentuate that. Punk Rising Scale allows you to be able to special summon itself by banishing a Punk card, then allows you to special summon a Punk monster from your deck, as well as Interruption. The card is a custom card. And then their new Exceed monster, Punk Jam Fever, is a negation. It's really cool. It also could be Exceed summoning by using any of your fusion and synchro Punk monsters. I think that overall the cards are amazing for the deck. What a lot of players have been doing is playing Punk Fiendsmith, but I'm pretty sure chat is going to disagree with Punk Fiendsmith, right? The new level 11 from the set also makes the deck broken. How could I forget? The deck does synchro into 11. There is a level 11 monster from Alliance Insight that is crazy for this deck. Punk is now nip proof. Oh, you guys are just gooning over this deck, huh? I think Punk is really strong because of the variants that you can play. There's that Punk Fiendsmith that I talked about, but then there's like a Punk Goblin Biker. There's still Punk Gold Pride. Hell, I've seen a Punk Goblin Biker Gold Pride deck that was actually really strong. The overall versatility of the deck is going to propel the deck forward, and I think it is going to be a deck that is going to be able to compete, hands down. And that brings us to our final Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I think that this deck is going to be meta. Orcust is hands down the best deck out of the entire Battles of Legends set. Top Deck TJ and I have been playtesting with these Yu-Gi-Oh strategies, and Orcust 100% takes the cake. I think one of Orcust's best things is that it was incredibly hard to hand trap when it was the best deck in the game. And that still translates over. There's never really a great spot to hit Orcust, and the deck just stops. Asperlinky and Crash say I'm coping? What? Of course, they're Punk players. Why would they of course they'll say I'm coping. The two new cards for Orcust, Galatea Eye, it solves all of the deck's problems. Being a Link 1 monster that can get Harp Horror off the field while also searching Orchestrated Babble it's ridiculous. And then the Link 4 monster gives the deck a legitimate boss monster. Orcust was harder to hand trap than Dark World? Bro, he's spitting. The monster is a walking change of heart that doesn't give your opponent's cards backs, but also can add Dark Machine monsters in your hand. The big reason why I think that Orcust is going to be one of the strongest decks in the game is simply because the deck can play forever. It also has a trap card, Orchestration, what's that card's name? It also has a trap card, Orcust Crescendo, which is ridiculous. Before, Orcust had to choose between getting the Babble and the Crescendo, but now they can just go straight to the Crescendo as well as having the Babble, which this card is a counter trap card. And now that the deck doesn't have to play like all these strange cards into the deck, using its other effect to be able to search a Dark Machine, this deck is ridiculous. Some players are going to say stuff like, oh, this deck loses to Lancia, this deck loses to Chaos Hunter. Well, so does Malice, and Malice is wound up being the second best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. So I'm not really scared of those Yu-Gi-Oh cards when it comes to Orcust. I think it will be the best deck in the game, or part of the big three. But that's all of the cards that I think you really need to be aware of coming into this Battles of Legends set. The cards are crazy strong, and they are something that you need to look out for because they will have an impact on the meta. Of course, if you want to see more amazing videos, you already know what to do. Be sure to check out these videos, and also be sure to pick up that TheCaliEffect merch so I could catch you on the next one.